This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, I don't know if you looked fully into this one, but I just saw one video about like the definition of the fully vaccinated status. Did you have a chance to look into that? Like what they mean by fully vaccinated? They were saying that now to be considered fully vaccinated, under that status, you would have had to have your shot within like the past 9 months or something like that.
I think it's still being debated.
Okay, but he made it sound like that was the thing.
No, I know what you're talking about, but it's still being debated.
Okay.
Like
perfect.
this is nothing is, but that's the title of articles are supposed to be like that, right?
No, I watched the video of him saying it. I didn't see the article.
Yeah,
I just
he can say it, but what he says is not always going to be what happens.
Oh, okay, because he was doing the announcement, and I was like, okay, like the perception is that's what you would.
No. Federal, yeah, they.
Because he didn't say like I suggest this. He was like in order to claim fully vaccinated status, you would have to have it within 9 months. So I was like, okay, is this what you're switching?
Yeah, but nobody's implementing any of that right now.
Oh,
if he is trying to say that, but no one's doing it. I don't think provinces are going to do it.
Okay, so you just bring it onto the table and then
probably
see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
Because it all depends on how bad are we actually doing. Right.
That's why when he said it, I was like, dude, I thought COVID was done. Like, what are we doing?
Well, it's not technically done, right? There is another wave. Yeah,
there's a
but
wave,
how effective is that wave, right? Against our
exactly
our system.
And if everyone's had it and like they're all doing fine without it, like my cousin just got it and then she kicked it within 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, so that's why it's. I feel like provinces would not go through with that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. All right, good. That puts me at ease.
Like they were talking about it on the radio too a little bit. Like there's, like I think the guy on the radio said it was like he said something about we could hit some high point in that wave in January, but never happened. So like these things they would say, but it's not necessarily correct always.
Okay, so that's my problem with I guess politics and like the media and stuff. Because when you say something as a politician, we're all thinking that this is going to be like what
But
you
I don't
say
think he's a politician
weight.
though.
Oh, that person?
Yeah.
No, but like why put him on TV and like
he's the I don't know the context of what he's like the health thingy, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what kind of questions he was answering or whatever he was saying. If there is a wave, I guess. But like
you think that they cut him out of context is what you're saying?
I don't want to say he's cutting out of context. It's like it's more like, is it an action that needs to be taken if we're getting problematic in our health system? I don't think that's happening. So like that's why like other areas wouldn't.
I see what you're saying.
Wouldn't agree with it, right?
Right. Like this would make sense to have it every 9 months if our health system is being strained again.
Yeah, but I still think it's going to be very hard to do that as a standard thing because like you have to prove that even the vaccines being as helpful every 9 months because we know that.
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that in it that's either you have to have probably like a new type of vaccine in order to cover Omicron, which is we don't have yet, right?
Right. Is Omicron the B something variant?
Yeah, these are all like subvariants of Omicron. but it's Omicron is the main thing.
Because I heard that got brought up. They're like, oh, this B whatever is extremely contagious. And then I was like, are you talking about Omicron or like what are we talking about here?
It's a subvariant of Omicron.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but yeah, it might be contagious, but if it's mild, it's like whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all based on what's actually happening in the hospitals.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so like this ties into what Jagmeet was saying about the Rogers thing, the outage being like, oh, we should break up this because of the liberal government and like they're allowing of the monopolies of the telecommunication system and like. So again, it's like because you're a politician, I feel like what you say has a lot of weight with people. Like when I saw the redefinition one, I was like, oh crap, are we gonna have to get shots again? Like, what does this mean? Like, am I not fully vaccinated if I haven't had it within 9 months? And then you're telling me like, okay, no, it hasn't fully passed. I'm like, oh, okay. Then why would you make it like so? Like, why would you put in the media if you're not? If you don't intend for us to do it, you know what I'm saying? It's like you still have to pass.
Maybe
the
he
law.
believes in that thing, but it's you have to pass those sort of things. So
Okay,
may not pass.
So like maybe preface it with like I would suggest this. You know, like he said it so matter of factly.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the video, so I don't know if it was a question that he was answering or was it a statement that he was reading.
Oh, I see. So
that's what I'm saying. I need to know.
Pulled out of context.
It could be. I can't say, right?
Yeah, you can't trust anything on social media anymore. But okay, so Jagmeet's thing is he put out that tweet about, you know, this is because the liberal government and their allowance of like monopolies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you look at how businesses are structured, it's not really a monopoly if you're the best in class. Is it like, can you say Apple has a monopoly over the computer market? Mm-hmm. Like, no, just most people buy Apple, right? So it's like...
Well, most people don't buy Apple.
No, most people don't buy Apple. Yeah, but like... But you know what I'm saying? It's like, if those are the best... If these are the best in class, how can you not have them rise to the top if everyone wants to use them? You know? Because then they're like... they're dealing with that with Twitter, right? They're like, maybe we should make it government run and like break it up. These social media companies. Mm-hmm. But it's like, no, but those social media companies work so hard to get to where they are... And then now you're going to use government regulation to break them up because you feel that there's a monopoly going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying.
It's like you could have chosen TELUS. You could have chosen Bell. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to choose Rogers, but you chose Rogers because, you know, you feel like it's the best choice. Unless you're in our situation in which they only offer Rogers in our building. So that is kind of like a monopoly move, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it depends on how is it CRTC or whoever is in charge of giving, like, basically giving those lines out, right? Because it's the government who makes these lines, kind of thing, right? So,
okay.
And then they buy it. Either they're renting it or they've purchased it, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I guess it's more like giving everything to Rogers, causing that if Rogers goes out, then everyone's out, right? Versus like having competition of other. I think it's more about competition. I don't think this is about like everything under one roof, I guess. I think what they should be just talking about is having more competition with other, like providing or allowing access to other companies who want to come in, because a lot of people can't come in.
Like
to progress in the telecommunications field.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like there's other companies. Like I think it was.
Well, what is the barrier to entry though? Like, why can't they come in?
I think I don't know like the rulings behind like how the CRTC stuff is run, but it's like I guess it's like it's about it's a competition thing. Like either they should be allowing access for more competition.
Okay.
Which is still a business thing, right? It's not a government run thing. It's a competition.
Right. Yeah.
I think there was like someone that wanted to come in, like a U.S. company, but they didn't want to bring them in.
Okay, but
because they would think that they would take over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like there's so those sort of things are there.
So is like Bell, Rogers, like, TELUS, they're all Canadian?
Yeah, they're Canadian, but then also like Rogers owns even like a smaller network, right? They own Fido.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, even
Alright.
Bell owns,
Telus?
I think Telus,
Oh, okay.
and then Kudo's under that too, I believe.
Okay,
Like
so
they own the whole tier.
it's like Coke and Pepsi then.
Yeah.
So it's like you think Mountain Dew is its own brand, but that's actually like under the umbrella of.
Is it Pepsi?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that.
Oh, okay, so there's really only two providers.
There's
Then.
only really two
Bell and
providers.
Rogers.
Yeah, the only other like outside competitor would be like it's called SaskTel. That's like for Saskatchewan.
Okay.
So they have their own.
Ooh, that's interesting. If you look at it that way, then it's like I do see Jagmeet's point in it being a monopoly because there's only two main providers.
Yeah.
That is an issue.
In that
Okay.
way, no. That's what I said. Like the beginning of his tweets is correct. It's true. But the point of blaming it on the Liberals is not true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, well, why would you?
These guys were there before the Liberal Party. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
this is just a business thing that happened. It's like,
yeah, this is more like a CRTC, and who are you giving? Who are you allowing purchasing of telecommunication networks and stuff like that?
It's independent of political parties.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't think these things are like black and white. These are all complicated issues.
Right. But I didn't know it was like an umbrella though. Like, there's only two. That's crazy to think
two
about.
main ones. Yeah, I think Telus is also like a separate one.
Like, what do you mean?
Like Telus is it's like a third.
Oh, okay.
Like it's Bell and Rogers were the biggest ones. I think Telus is
so does
third, and
does
SaskTel.
Telus use the same lines as Bell though?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So then there's three.
Yeah, but they're not like the two are the main ones, right? Telus doesn't really have. I don't think they have good outside of certain areas. In other areas, they don't have especially in rural areas. Like it's either going to be one of those two big guys.
Yeah, but okay, isn't that okay? When you look at it as like a brand wise, right? When you think about Rogers, you think about like cheap, accessible service, right? Is that what you think? Like when I think about Bell, I'm like when we were kids, remember people would have Bell, and you're like, oh, you're like that bougie class, you know? Like Bell is like a. I think you've always had Bell. Actually.
I've always had Bell.
Yeah, you've always had Bell, but like Rogers was the one that most of us had. Like I think Wob had it, I had it.
Yeah.
Jared had it. Like everyone had Rogers because it was like the most accessible one. Like it's the one that is ubiquitous. It's like everywhere. Bell was more like niche. Did you find that? Well, I mean, you had Bell, so you didn't really know the difference. But like most people I know had Rogers.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if they were cheap though, but
like not cheap.
Maybe
accessible.
as like because you probably got all three, right? Like it was cable, phone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all bundled.
Internet.
So that's why it was cheap. It was like it's like you get more bang for your buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Bell was more like the expensive one. But then what they did in our area, the place where we grew up, is they tore up all the lines and they made them all primarily Bell lines. You still get Rogers, but it's very difficult to get service in our area. That's why everyone switched to Bell. Like they were putting all these.
Well, they all
signs up.
changed it to fiber optic cables.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we switched over to Bell because of that, right? So I guess maybe in that sense you can say it is a monopoly because they are setting out the lines, and so it's like within this area you can't get Rogers or you can't get Bell. Like just like in our apartment, right? We can't get Bell. We can only get Rogers.
Yeah, they slowly started to implement Bell, but it's still like very slow speed here.
Right. Yeah.
Only recently though.
No, yeah, exactly. But when we first arrived here, it was
only Rogers
yeah.
was the only option.
So then, if you think of it that way, it's like maybe there is a maybe freaking Jagmeet was right, and I was thinking like, what are you talking about?
No, that's what I'm saying. There is a problem with her because we do pay one of the highest like cell phone bills.
Oh, really? Okay,
in the
I didn't
world.
know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah. So
that's because we don't have really good competition.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, if you look at the definition of like what a monopoly is, this is more like a quick and dirty definition, not the exact business definition, but it's like very few players with high barriers to entry, and the few players control the major market.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do look at it in that case, if there are only two providers, I didn't know that till you said it, then technically it is a monopoly because you have only two.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just like sub brands.
Yeah.
Technically, you'd say that about the pop industry as well, but not many people are pissed off about that because you don't have to buy pop.
You're right.
You know, like Pepsi and Coke.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He's not wrong about that. I think it's more about like bringing in more competition, but I would say the end part of that tweet was wrong,
like
which is blaming only liberals.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
And you made a good point yesterday when we were talking about it that they just made a deal with the Liberal Party. So it's like, why are you bashing the people you just made a deal with?
Yeah, or like say something like, I'm going to bring it up to the Liberal Party. Like, we're going to push this forward with because you're working with them now, right?
So
like do something like that. Like attacking them just feels weird because you just joined them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
true.
It doesn't seem like that doesn't make sense.
That's weird. They were talking about that for the Biden-Harris election. So like when Harris was attacking Biden in the beginning and then she joined him, they're like, what about all that stuff you said about Biden? And then she's like, well, we were competing head to head. So then you're like, so do you not mean what you said with it? You know what I mean? It's sort of like if it's all fair in political competition, it seems like sketchy that, like, it seems hypocritical that like you're bashing them one day and then joining them the next day talking about how amazing they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's similar here with like the NDP and Liberal Party.
There's ways you can join because you know you're going to not win the race, but you can say like, oh, we'll be pushing for these sort of things.
Yeah, you just don't want to eat your words later.
Yeah,
then
you don't.
Like hypocritical.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you hated them, bro. Why'd you join them then?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't like the... I mean, we did talk about it. I'm pretty sure we talked in the last podcast, but I don't like the way things are governed right now. It feels too weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, odd. But it sucks about the blackout because a lot of businesses lost money for that. I believe they did because they couldn't get any like Interact or
I feel like there's got to be I think there's some compensation to come from this.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't even the first time, right? It was the second time this happened, but this, like, the first time it happened was shorter than this time.
Yeah, and I think that they need to. I haven't read any news about it, but I feel like, I don't know, because it was so long. I felt like, is this some sort of like a ransom attack kind of thing?
Oh yeah, a lot of people were talking about that. I don't think so though.
But that's just like
hearsay,
the conspiracy, I would say, right? But like because they haven't revealed yet what exactly happened. So
yeah,
I think that they would need to do that.
Well, they're probably just running the investigation right now, right?
Yeah. But they would need to, I think, reveal what exactly happened or how it happened. And I think that information is going to come out in the next few days.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
yeah.
When they write their final report.
Yeah, because this is, and what kind of compensation that people are going to get because of the loss of business and
for sure,
and
like
access to internet, especially today with everybody's working from home.
For sure. And
that's a huge loss.
How do you how do you reimburse everyone?
Yeah, and I heard like as I was watching like TikToks and stuff where it's like people who were on Bell didn't know, so they were like logged into work, and but some people who figured out that other people who had Rogers can't work, so they just said that they had Rogers.
Oh, that's so funny. But you know what's weird too though? Like, you could just tether to your work phone. You know, if you had a work phone, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not completely out of the loop for like internet. Like, there's other ways to get access, you know?
Yeah, I feel like most people they're not set up like that. I think it's just using your home internet.
I suppose. I don't know. I just felt like that was a weak excuse when people were like, because I saw that too. It's like, oh, I can't work. I'm like, but you know, there's like data. Like, they gave us a phone for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but then to send that info, again, it depends on, again,
the
what
situation.
level, what your situation is. But most people were, I don't want to say most, but like there were some people that were like, not going to work.
Yeah. I know that like the bakery was, because I ran into...
Like we didn't have access at my work, but I had, my work doesn't necessarily, like it's only for emails that I can't do or like calls.
Oh, okay.
But I can do because I go in anyway, so I have to, like I can do like
the calculations and stuff. Yeah, I know that the bakery, because I ran to my cousin and she was like, yeah, we can't accept any payments right now. So I'm like, oh man. Like,
it had to, everything is funny because it's like with the pandemic, because nobody wanted to touch cash,
And now we're all
like,
yo.
oh shit, the only access is cash.
Yeah. Actually, somebody brought this up. They're like, are the ATMs working? And I was like, yeah, what if the ATMs were down? How would you even access
Yeah, that's another
cash?
thing too. Yeah.
I couldn't even e-transfer at the time. Like when you signed
you
into
can't.
TD,
Yeah, you couldn't
it was like
Yeah.
e-transfers are down. I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw this thing. It like only Canadian. It was like only in Canada, so only Canadians would do this. But certain businesses were like, "We'll take your name and number down and just promise to pay us tomorrow."
Yeah, but that's not true.
like,
It's not
damn.
in Canada though.
No, I know, but like
I know. I
only-
saw that. I saw that
only in Canada. Like,
yeah. No, I saw that, and I saw that like saying that that's kind of very normal in a lot of other countries.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, pay us tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you get to know these people, right? It's not like.
Well, yeah, I guess in like small. No, I was just like they're leaning into the fact that Canadians are so polite.
No.
and
They
nice
were
and
trying
stuff.
to. I know. It was a TikTok thing, which was rebuttaling that
I see.
specific thing. It's like it's not a.
Yeah, I see your point. But you know what's funny? That moniker of like Canadians being nice is so prevalent within our like psyche. I was at this like at this place. We were at a farmer's market, me and Tara, and then we saw the license plate was from New York, and then we were being extra polite because we're like, oh, they're from out of town. And I was like, it's so Canadian to be like, let's be nice to them, you know? Like, they're not from here.
True.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking about how with the internet shortage, what does that mean for like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
I was about to bring that up.
You know what I mean?
I was just thinking
Like,
that too. Like then you have no access to the Bitcoin. You can't even do it.
Yeah, like it's weird that we live our lives so like
Like
digitally.
at the end of the day, with this whole internet crash, it was cash that went out. Right?
Yeah, it's exactly. So if the whole world moved towards a cryptocurrency, if an electronic breakdown happened again, they'd be screwed. Like we couldn't touch anything.
You couldn't touch anything. Yeah.
But I mean, also at the same time, it's like we do like a small issue like this shows us our dependency on the internet to the point like we can't survive without it. Well, we can survive, but like look at the crazy.
I mean, the loss
ramifications, the loss. Yeah,
like what is the loss now? Like in billions? Like what happened in one day?
for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Like on a small business level, on a productivity level, like so
Like
much
I saw, like a
happened.
lot of the shops are just closed. Like we can't.
Yeah.
Our internet's down. We can't do anything.
Even Starbucks, that's what tripped me out in the morning. I went to go pick up Starbucks and it's like, oh, our ATM and our credit and debit are down, so you have to use the app. And I was like, oh, you guys are losing tons of money then. Because if I didn't pre-order on the app, I would have seen that and I'm like, oh, I can't get it today.
Exactly.
You're right, eh? They would have lost like so much money.
Yeah.
In like
it was almost 24 hours.
transactions. Yeah.
It was 24 hours.
No, I think it must have been more then because even the next day it was still like laggy a little bit.
Yeah, it was spotty.
wasn't perfect.
But it was spotty, but it was like maybe a little bit over, just a little bit over 24 hours, maybe or something like that. But like it was I don't think we've had that in that long before. So,
but it's like it's a very big wake up call.
It's
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen going forward. Yeah, I mean, like I hear this all the time through like Joe Rogan. He brings it up. Like if there was like a solar flare or something, we'd be so done for because like our grid, like literally everything is saved on the cloud. You know, I was actually thinking about this the other day because we like at my work we primarily use like cloud-based services. So you actually don't even really need the computer anymore.
Right.
Like you can access it wherever, and like. If that shut down, so you couldn't do any work, like all of your data is stored on a cloud somewhere. We literally have no physical. They did that in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Remember, like the big blackout, like the I forgot what they called it, but it was like, I think the.
Yeah, I forgot what they did, but I know. Yeah, it was like.
And basically, so something happened with their data system, and they lost all of their data from one point backward. So like everything from that one point was wiped out.
Yeah.
So you have no historical anything, and they had to rebuild. We could actually see that happening in our lifetime, where we become too dependent on digital systems.
Right. Yeah. And I hope these things are little bits of learning lessons, and I don't know what we can learn from, like what we can do from these sort of things. But well, yeah, either we. I mean, these are things to learn from, and are we going to do something about it? That's the next thing.
Humans are pretty quick to forget, though. So we're just like, whatever, that was in the past, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Because even things like, 9/11, not many people, like people born after 9/11 who didn't really, like, for example, like Tara was like super young. She doesn't really remember 9/11.
Yeah.
So it's weird because it was so formative in our minds. Like, we totally remember 9/11. That was a crazy event. But then to see it going forward, people being like, wait, what? That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's like, no, that wasn't a long time ago. That was like within my lifetime when I was a
kid. We don't realize how much changed with that event.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Flight, like travel through flight, just the amount of security that we go through now is all because of that.
For sure.
But we forget.
But we forget. It all becomes like normalized as like, this is just the way things are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of scary when you think about COVID, though, because you're like, what are the things that are going to happen as a ramification from this that we just normalize, That's why I was like worried about the freaking 9-month definition. I was like, are they just going to change it? Now everything is just going to be like
that's why
it's anything at any time.
Yeah, that's why nothing's set, nothing's in set or in place yet.
But they already set the precedent of being able to do that. Remember, like during COVID, they just changed laws willy-nilly? Yeah,
but right. I feel like they can only control federally. They just can't control provincial.
Okay. I'm just saying that it was a weird time. Like COVID was a weird time where things were very loose.
Well, those are under
extreme circumstances.
Yeah, they call it like in emergency situations, right?
The Emergency Act.
Emergency Act, because they have to implement Emergency Act in order to do these sort of things. But once you remove Emergency Act, then you can't just pass things.
But so many things got passed during the time of COVID that nobody paid attention to. So like within those long bills, this is trippy. So within those long bills that they passed with COVID, they didn't only just limit it to COVID related issues. They added so many things into those documents that people signed off on. For example, the UFO disclosure. So that was, remember when we were in the COVID times and I was paying so much attention to this because like I follow the UFO people.
And this is in the U.S. You're talking about the U.S.
The U.S. Yeah. Canada is super open about our UFO stuff. You can Google it anytime. We're not secretive about it. Actually, most countries are not secretive about it. Just the U.S. is the most secretive. I don't know why, but so they signed the COVID bill, and within that there was a UFO disclosure thing, and then people are now wondering how come they're letting go of all these UFO videos. But it's like, no, that got signed 2 years ago. I remember that article and like those people talking about how we're finally going to get the truth because it passed within the COVID bill, right? But you don't think about that, right? You think like, oh, COVID bill is only about COVID, but it's never like all bills are like they have so many different things within them. Isn't that trippy to think about it?
Yeah, that's why you got to read the bills. But
yeah, right. But nobody reads them. But then now it's like
nobody reads them. But then it's also the media is not focusing on those things.
Right. That's why they called it the COVID bill. Right. But then if you look at I actually think it's interesting that if you looked at that bill, it's like the UFO Disclosure Act, and then now you're seeing all the UFO videos and you're like, wow, this is coming out of nowhere. It's like, no, there was like a lead up to this. You just didn't know there was a lead up.
Right.
Makes you wonder too, like how many other things that if we just paid attention to, we know what's going to be happening down the pipeline. Again,
it's like there's so many things happening.
There's so many things. Yeah, for sure.
Pay attention to.
Yeah, facts.
Everything.
Well, one thing about COVID though, I was thinking about this, I guess two days ago. It just like hit me that COVID really made, at least for me, appreciate a lot of what we have. I wonder how many other people like had that appreciation too. Like I almost feel like life is better post-COVID than pre-COVID. The reason why I'm saying that is because like prior to COVID, my job that I used to have, it was primarily, it was like in office, but there was remote. And I was like, wow, it'd be great if we could have remote all the time. Right. And then COVID happened. And now back out of that job is remote all the time. And it's like, oh, this is way better. And then, but also at the same time, it makes you appreciate like, oh, I can go to concerts. I can go to the gym. I can like meet other people, you know, like.
It's more like things that we took for granted.
Yeah, totally.
Now it's how important those things were.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's what we realized.
You don't know how good you have it till it's gone.
Yeah.
But then the reason why I say it's better now post-COVID is like remote world, we have a remote world upon us. Like to me, work feels like a video game because I'm like everything is within this one computer. Like I'm not physically seeing you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Well, we are doing that. Like we are doing a retreat. Like they want to build some team building. So
I think you still need to do that. I think because we're humans, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Collectivists, right?
But it's not like you're there.
But not doing it every day.
You know.
Yeah. And I think it depends on the work. Right, depends on the type of work.
Yeah, we talked about it before. It's like because I'm in marketing, I can do that. But if you're doing something that's more labor intensive, you can't really do that.
Yeah, labor intensive, or even like even in the fields of tech too. If it requires like brainstorming of ideas, sometimes it's better to be in the same room and doing these sort of things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it depends on your industry as well. I'm very appreciative of where we are post-COVID, and almost like. Even though, like, one of the things I hate is needles, but because we are so subjected to injections, that it almost feels like I'm slowly getting over that fear. Because remember, all the news, it was just shots all the time.
Yeah, every time.
Every time you turn on the news, it's like people getting injected. So it's like
they were
medicine drip.
And then they're like using the words like jabbed.
Yeah, to change it a bit, you know? And like... But because of that, it created like a medicine drip effect in my psyche to be like, no, it's fine. This is normal. Like everyone's getting shots, like whatever. Like, I mean, I'm still using numbing cream, but it's not like before, if I knew I had to get an injection, it'd be like months leading up to that being like so worried.
Right.
And then now it's like less so, you know? So I don't know. I'm happier post-COVID, I would say, you know? It was getting murky there. Like the industries were it was very like scary at one point, but you know, the government is giving a lot of money back to industries to like rebuild.
Yeah. But we're still in a tough spot that we're in a
deficit of work.
Not a deficit of work. I think we're in a
labor. I mean,
we do have a labor shortage, but we also there is the risk of recession.
No, for sure. No.
That's
there's like a lot of like the gas prices. That was crazy. Prices generally are going up, but or maybe we're not better post-COVID. Maybe it's more like I'm just more appreciative post-COVID.
Other things we had,
going to jiu-jitsu and I was like, I can actually do this. I remember I couldn't do this for like 2 years.
Yeah. In our immediate surroundings, yes.
Yeah. Or maybe that's just a perspective, right? Like people, it depends on how you want to look at it.
I think it depends on how you look at it. And glass half full or glass half empty kind of thing, right?
Yeah, true. Because maybe somebody hates the fact that they're still remote, or somebody hates the fact that they have to...
Yeah, there's probably people like that, yeah. Depends on their situation in life, right? Everyone's got their own story.
Yeah, facts. I'm looking at it from...
But you were always already trained to be able to work from home. Like you were always doing that kind of stuff before anyways,
I'm actually way faster working all by myself than I am like in the... I went in that one time, we spent like 30 minutes talking about life, and I was like, oh my God, I could have been working for 30 minutes.
Right, yeah.
You know, but like... people miss that human interaction.
Yeah,
but there is. I don't know. For me, I'm a very like productivity-based person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the individual, right? Like an extrovert type of person, they prefer that kind of.
Yeah, facts. Oh, maybe that's the thing, right? Like our whole world was built around extroverts. This is actually really trippy.
Yeah.
Right. If you think about it, most people, like introverts and extroverts, right? It's about 50-50. You know, you couldn't say that most people are extroverts. Like,
no.
you like, right? It's like, let's just assume it's 50-50. But the way our society is structured is completely surrounding extroverts.
But it makes sense though.
No, of course, yeah, because you got to go out and achieve, right?
Yeah, and
you
those
gotta work
generally
together, and like, yeah, those are extroverted people.
Yeah.
I totally agree, but at the same time, it's like now we're seeing a flip side to that, where all the introverts they're like, yes, I love it,
Yeah.
and the extroverts are the ones suffering.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for me, it was such a chore to go to work every like I hated it.
That's why I feel like it's gonna be. That's why it's a mixed thing now, right? Where it's like a few days for most places, work from home 3 days, in office a few days. It's like
Yeah,
it's
totally.
it's a mix, which is kind of helpful for both sides.
I used to like that. I did like that with before it was like a mix of remote and
Yeah.
in office, and that was good because you got to like brainstorm and stuff. But looking at it now, I'd still much prefer like just being able to shut my laptop off at 5 and go do whatever I want to do.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But maybe that's just the introvert in me, right? Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know, like commute times feel like a waste to me. It's like, why are you gonna commute, you know?
Yeah, that is a lot of time. Yes.
Right? Like
Use-
I'm
use
always
it,
cutting everything to the last minute of like I'm always just on time for everything.
Right.
But that's because like, why waste the lag time? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
But you know, that's just me. I don't like wasting time.
Yeah, like for me, nothing's changed.
Yeah, yeah, true. I mean, you don't care about the commutes, like you don't mind commuting to work. I mean,
Well, my commute has changed, right? I used to take the bus, now I'm driving. So it's like,
oh, so relatively, it's already better. Yeah, true. And you can like listen to music and whatever,
and not drive.
Yeah, true, and not drive, so you can do other stuff. So
I'm
it's
still
like,
technically taking the bus.
yeah, yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see where we're headed, especially with like climate change too. It's like you want to cut down on commuting time for climate change reasons. I feel like we're at a we did talk about this in the last podcast about like the Armageddon or like the Kali Yuga. We're in like the destruction phase.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it's like the destruction of our previous way of life into a new way of life, or like just the completely demise of, you know, our civilization. I don't believe in that.
I don't believe it's not. It's a vague term. So
The idea
it
of
can
an
be for
Armageddon.
anything.
Yeah. Because it could be the Armageddon of, you know, the imperfect way we used to do things into a more perfected way, which I think makes more sense.
Yeah. I mean, we can kind of see that, right? I mean, that's the whole what we've done is trying to find ways to be still productive with
The remoteness, the COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. I guess the thing that really struck me, to circle back to what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast about like that announcement, it's just I thought it was over. So when I saw that video, I was like, why are we still talking about this thing? Like, you literally opened up. So like there's zero restrictions here.
Yeah. Within, yes.
The only restriction is like some companies have a vaccination policy. That's it.
I don't even think you can do that anymore.
We do have one, so I would know firsthand.
I think it's those companies are removing those.
That's what we brought up, but like, I don't know. Whatever, it's up to you guys. I don't care. But yes, things
At this point, I think eventually it has to go.
that came up, but I don't know why we're not doing anything about it. But okay, whatever, it is what it is.
Maybe they're still waiting another year. I don't know. Like, it's gonna eventually go.
Could be.
It has to.
I agree with you, but yeah, because we brought up. I don't want to talk about their business, but like,
No, I get that. No, that's fine.
yeah, but like, yes, I agree with you.
But I mean,
It's
like,
making no sense
there
at
are
this
a
point.
lot of. I would say that there are a lot of other places that are removing them already, even in the public sector. So
Exactly. So it's like, why? That's what tripped me out about the video. It's like, why are we going to bring up the redefinition of a vaccination status if you are opening up? Makes no sense. Like, if we were shutting back down, okay, totally makes sense. Like, we need to redefine
I mean,
this.
I would just say the only reason if you'd have to shut back down is if we're going back to the same scenario as early COVID.
Which is like 2 too many people in the hospitals, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
yeah. But we're not there. We're nowhere near there.
Actually,
Like, if you'd have to get to that same exact point, that's the only way to make sense to do that.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I thought of something when you said going back there. Remember in the beginning of COVID, everyone's going on ventilators and they're like, oh my God, this is gonna, like, you won't be able to breathe. So people who work in the hospital industry, like my mom, my sister, they were talking about how if you go on a ventilator, you're basically dead because you're not breathing for yourself anymore and
Yeah.
you're using the machine. So your body's kind of forgetting how to do that. And then they only recently found out that, like, looking back, 2020 hindsight, right? They realized that putting these people on ventilators is what most likely killed them in the beginning because they were. But I mean, also at the same time, you didn't know what you're doing, so you're kind of freaking out.
Yeah, it's a totally new virus, right? We're
we
trying to
let that
find a way
go.
to.
Like, you didn't have any negative intentions. You thought maybe you need the ventilator, right?
Right.
But it's interesting that, most people would have survived if they weren't on the ventilator. And then finding out also from people within the industry, they're like, if you go on a ventilator, you're basically dead. And I was like, oh, wow, you guys knew that.
It's like the last resort.
Yeah, but
It's
I guess
like-
they didn't know what COVID was going to do to us.
Yeah,
right?
no, because it's such a new virus, you don't know, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you're it's better to overreact
Then underreact.
than
totally,
underreact.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Because it was about like, oh, it passes through, spit. What do they call it? Like
Saliva.
droplets.
Yeah.
But it's not droplets. It's in the air. Right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's like
yeah,
these
yeah.
are the things you can only learn over time. But you have to react in a relatively, I think, like in a harsher way, thinking like, or in the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
In order to
Most
then
pragmatic way.
Yeah, and then slowly remove
Work back.
those.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting too, though, because like all the conspiracy theorists, they're like, oh, they're like, there's a conspiracy going on or whatever with surrounding COVID. I don't really think it was highlighting a conspiracy. I think it's more highlighting our lack of knowledge within the health system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think because it's such a new virus, it is a lack
But it
of
shows
knowledge.
about everything, right? Like, it's like, okay, how do we respond with an immediate threat? And then you see, oh, we don't actually have the best. It's sort of like this. If aliens were to come down, you would assume that the government has a plan, right? You're like, but it turns out they probably don't have a plan. Because with this COVID thing, you're like, oh, they must have a plan just in case of this, regulations or whatever. And then you saw like, oh, they actually don't have a plan. So it's more like what people mistook as a conspiracy was just really like the lack of capability, like the ineptness of the government.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying. I think it also depends on what kind of government you have, right? So like you saw what the scenarios of the United States compared to us, right? Where it's like,
Right, yeah.
it's like they had a lot, like per capita wise, they had more deaths than here, right?
Yeah, but also obesity rates are way higher over there.
The what?
Obesity rates. Like obesity.
Yeah, obese. Sorry.
Obesity though. Like big people.
Yeah. Right. No. I get that.
Which is what they found is like a big contributing factor to negative effects of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel like any
kind
of. I feel like any virus would be. If
of course,
you're not
because
healthy.
you don't have a healthy body, so it's like, how's your body going to fight back, bro? Like, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So if your whole country is like, health deprived, of course, it's going to act way different there. Yeah. It was a big, like, introspective look on ourselves, the virus.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's still, for us, I don't think it's, like, you don't see it around us anymore, but it's still, like, in China, it's still, a big thing. It's still a big thing. I think they were doing vast, like...
lockdowns, is that?
Not lockdowns, but they were doing, like, COVID tests.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Still.
Which reminds me, I gotta do, I just want to do one just to be safe. But the guy I was like partnered with, he was like sneezing, and I was like, is this COVID? You know what I mean? Like, you just never know anymore, because it could just be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the annoying part about it. It's like, if it could just be anything and we're so afraid of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because we're just getting out of COVID in a way, right? Like,
right, the psychology's
it's
still
the
there.
psychology's still there, right? So people are still wearing masks, right? Like everywhere,
Yeah,
because
true.
they feel more safe with it on, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is fine because it's going to take them longer time to eventually.
That, again, it'll be really interesting to see the ramifications of what happens because of this. Not from like a legislative perspective, but more from like a psychological perspective.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were saying that, like, I was listening to podcasts and some of their kids, like, who are like 4 years old and they grew up like cognizantly through COVID, they started freaking out if their parents weren't wearing a mask. Like, you're gonna die.
Yeah, same.
Because they thought like you have to wear a mask if you go outside, right? Yeah, how will this affect them? Whatever that, yeah, time will tell. Yeah. Actually, well, all right, one last thing about that. Do you think the issue was there the whole time in terms of anxiety and depression, or do you think it got worse because of, like, what I'm trying to say is, do you think it was always there and then now we're shining a light on it, or do you think it got worse because of what's going on in the world at the moment?
Anxiety and depression?
Yeah. Because it has risen, like, that's what they've said, but it's like, has it risen because more people are reporting it, or they have a name towards it? Because depression wasn't a thing when we were kids, you know, like, there was no such thing as anxiety.
No, I think it still existed. It just wasn't
have a name. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, now that we can actually call what it is.
Yeah, okay, so do you think they rose? Do you think it actually rose, or do you think it was there the whole time, now just more people are acknowledging it?
I think it was always there the whole time.
I think so too.
I just don't think I don't think it was it's not generally what's the word, like okay to talk about in society.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, so like a lot of that stuff
when we were
was
kids. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now it's like totally normal.
But now it's normal.
I feel like sad.
Yeah, now it's more normal to be able to speak about your feelings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
facts.
I don't think it was in our time. Well, like when we were kids, right? So
yeah.
I think these things were still there. It just wasn't ever like accepted, or you'd probably be looked at weird.
Yeah.
To talk about those sort of things.
Yeah. All right, I agree.
Yeah.
I wonder though, like, when you open up this can of worms of like admitting you have a problem, do you have a solution ready? You know what I mean? Like, before there was no problem to admit to, so you didn't need the solution. But now if you have all these people being like, oh, I have like anxiety and depression, if you don't present people with a solution, it's like you've just vocalized a problem.
Right.
That now we don't even know what to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And who are the people who are administering the solution as well? Are they equipped to provide the solution? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like also with being that it's being more vocalized, I feel like that's also going to bring more research into it too.
Okay, yeah, true.
As well. So like maybe there was, because it wasn't like, just to say, like, it wasn't at the top of the list of things.
Right.
So there wasn't really focus of research into those sort of things, right? Because there was no money to make from it.
Right. Because
So now there's now that it's an actual, a problem, that I feel like there's more people that will go into those types of fields to help change those things.
True. Yeah, for sure. My only worry is that we're gonna introduce more pharmaceuticals. You know, like when ADD was. There are a lot of people that would argue that ADD is not actually a real thing. Gabor Mate, for example, not saying I'm just saying this, but like what they were saying is that if you look at the physiology of a kid, like, all right, first of all, if you're feeding the kid sugar all day, like if you're a kid and you wake up and eat cereal, that's just loaded with sugar and carbs, right? And then you're telling that kid who just had this huge burst of energy to go sit in a classroom and don't move. Of course it's going to manifest in this thing called ADD. Right. But or it would be misdiagnosed as ADD.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right, but it's like, just cut out the sugar before before the class. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a nutritional component. But then they came up with like Ritalin, you know, and they started pumping people with Ritalin. But it's like you didn't realize the root problem is sugar or like a lack of energy expulsion, right?
Right.
So I'm worried that when you open up this can of worms of like anxiety and depression at our current age, and they start throwing like pharmaceuticals at it, it's like, no, let's look at the real issue here. You know, like why are you feeling these symptoms? Like maybe the way our society is structured is not optimal, you know? Like it isn't optimal for kids with ADD, like quote unquote ADD, right? Like you give them sugar, but why'd you give them sugar? Because everyone told you buy breakfast cereal and then go sit in the classroom, don't move. But all kids have energy. So it's like society, the way it's structured naturally to make it like function is detrimental to human beings as a whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like, I don't know, you're opening problems without any solutions. It's kind of worrying for me.
Sure. Yeah. I can see that.
Right? Yeah.
But this is just what we deal with.
I know, but it's just like, it's weird to think about that, like, because like when you hear Gabor Mate saying ADD is not a real thing, well, depends. If there's an extreme case of it, sure, but like we know they're like,
yeah, I don't believe.
Now it's like,
I don't believe.
How's
Like, so, yeah,
ADD?
I always had a problem with that thing too.
Right? Exactly. Like, oh, everyone's got ADD now. Like, you know, some people just like say it because it's cool. Like, oh, I can't pay attention. I have ADD. It's like, no, bro, just pay attention. Like, learn how to pay attention.
Or it's like, is it like something in our water that's causing this? Like, you know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, totally. Like, there's some.
Like, why all of a sudden an
it.
increase in this level of diagnosis?
No, I'm 100% in sugar. It's the way our
but
body,
kids are supposed to have energy. They have energy. So you have to put them in things where they can expel their energy.
So a lot of schools, when they started to realize this, well, not every school, like obviously publicly funded schools can't do it, but private schools, they'll have like exercise class in the morning. So you run around and then you go to class. Of course, you release the energy and then you can sit down.
Yeah.
But imagine like a kid, like this is what we used to do too, right? They go to sleep really late. They wake up early, eat a sugary breakfast. If you're...
Well, I didn't do that, but yeah.
Oh, you didn't eat a sugary breakfast?
No.
Okay, well, I used to eat cereal all the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't develop ADD. Like, you know what
it's
I mean?
it's a Western problem, this whole cereal thing.
It is a Western problem. Yeah.
Because other countries or I don't know about like Europe, but like in other Asian countries, you have like actual like, it's not sugary breakfast. It's just there's breakfast, but
right. Yeah. It's not just it's a meal.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like comparatively, it's like if I drank an entire Red Bull and said, "Hey, don't move," you're like, well, "You just gave me a Red Bull, bro."
Right. You're gonna be agitated.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, "Oh, you have a medical issue." Like, what do you mean? Like, you gave me a Red Bull.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, nobody's foresight. Even things like very simple issue, the food guide. Do you remember the old food guide, the pyramid?
Yeah.
At the very bottom, it was like carbs. It was like bread, cereal, rice, whatever. And then like it would move up and like you needed the most of the carbs, right? And then now they switch the food pyramid because they're like, oh, actually, that's not good for you to give yourself like tons of carbs. Right. It's like...
But that's the progress.
No, that's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree with you. But it's like with COVID, we were doing that so quickly. Like when you fix the food guide, it's over time. But if you needed something really quick as a solution, you realize that we don't have anything figured out, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right? Like you thought there was a master plan, but really there's no master plan. If aliens were to come down, you would assume that people knew what to do. Like there's a protocol for this.
I think everyone's gonna.
But we don't have a protocol, you know, but like you assumed prior to all of this that there's a protocol.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever believe that we have everything figured out. We're humans. Like we're just reacting.
For sure we're reacting, but you would assume that somebody has at least some plan.
I think the only way that we have plans is when things happen.
Yeah, we're a very reactive species.
We're always a reactive. We've always been like that.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, like even in our business systems, like just-in-time models. Yeah. Like you fulfill it when you need the thing.
Yes.
Right. But then now, because of climate change and like COVID, and like gas prices, the just-in-time model broke, and we're like, oh, we're seeing these shortages in our grocery stores, of course, because you were in just-in-time.
Yeah.
But now there's delays in that time, so we can't like. It's almost like we have like a house of cards, like a beautiful house, but it's made of cards, and then as soon as the wind blew, it's like it all got crumbled.
Yeah.
Scary to think about.
But I mean, we generally only build like our infrastructure wise based on like what we know of the past, right? Like or continuous, the same thing, right? We're just progressing on that. But if anything breaks that chain or link,
we gotta rethink it.
Then only we rethink it. We don't rethink beforehand.
Right, and this is what I mean about the anxiety and depression thing. It's like you're presenting a problem. If you didn't come up with a solution, now we're gonna hit a wall where we're like, oh, all these people are freaking depressed. We have no solution. Now we have to think of it's almost like, again, going back to it, there's no foresight. Like we should probably think before we move.
But we don't. That's not how we
operate as a species.
We just don't do that. Yeah,
because our progress would be too slow.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad to think about. It's like we're like a bullet train that's going as fast as we can, that we don't care about the problems that we like.
We'll only deal with it when the problems happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just
human society.
That's just human society.
That's
just
weird.
how we do it.
It's weird to think about it like that.
I think it depends what the background of. I think the whole world is in the current Western mindset, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But that's also because why the Western world has been super successful.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So they want to copy those things, right?
Yeah.
But there is always going to be problems that we're all going to face when things that how they were supposed to be don't work out always like that, right? So then.
Yeah, it's sort of like an expectation versus reality issue.
Yeah.
If you're not pragmatic about it, you're not accounting for the reality that might come. You're just living your entire life through expectation. Like it should work this way.
Like 99% of the time, tomorrow's going to be the same thing as the day before, right?
And then only when a hiccup happens, then you're like...
Yeah, which is that 1%. But we're not thinking about the 1% because it's only a 1% chance.
Weird. That's kind of weird to think about it in its own self, right?
Yeah, like, because again, 99% of the time, it's going to be the same. Only that 1%.
Yeah, true, but that 1% could destroy everything.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like it's the one straw that broke the camel's back. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, to speed up because I realized we talked really long about things that were not.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we need.
What was the main thing of the topic?
Thor. The Thor was supposed to be the main thing. Okay, wait. How long has it been?
56 minutes.
Oh my god! All right, so we're just gonna bullet through these. I got 3 last things, so it shouldn't be too bad. So Elvis.
So you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very artsy piece. I think that I brought it up because it really illuminates the artist journey, you know, of like, we're going to build you up, use you, and then throw you out. Right. So essentially, I did not know any of this about Elvis, but he's idolized because he brought a union between black and white culture. He mixed R&B with country music, right? So a lot of like, if you look at the soundtrack, there's a lot of urban artists on there, and that's because they're paying homage to him because he really tried to destroy racism.
Okay.
Because he basically grew up poor, so he lived around black people, and then in the ghettos, and that's where he learned about R&B. It wasn't like he stumbled upon, like he grew up as it.
Right.
And then he also grew up with country. So he's just mixing the two things that he loved, right? And on a Western, like a Caucasian audiences, they didn't really see that before. So they were amazed by his music. But he's like, no, this, even in the movie, he kept like, no, the real rock star is like B.B. King or this guy, right? It's not me, because that's where I took my influences from. Right. But at that time, during Confederacy and all that, like they had all these Confederate flags.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
They're talking about, you know, segregation between blacks and whites, and they didn't like Elvis because he was bringing black music to white cultures.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Makes sense. But yeah, so I didn't know he was such an advocate for that. But But what was really interesting is his manager found him. Well, his manager was like a circus manager.
Okay.
Found him, got him really famous. They made lots of money. And then his manager made this deal where he would play in Vegas. You know, everyone has a residency in Vegas. That started with Elvis.
Okay.
So, but Elvis wanted to travel the world, but then they were like, oh, we'll pay you X amount of money. And then they like to stay here, like $5 million a year, which is a lot of money. So he's like, all right, cool. But then he was getting bored of it. And then he found out his manager was getting more money to keep Elvis there.
Right.
So like, even though Elvis made $5 million, this guy was making way more money by forcing him there.
Right.
And then one night he was like drunk and stuff. And he said like, he was like telling the audience that was watching, like, I'm stuck in a golden cage. Like, I can't leave this hotel. I'm just like your songbird or whatever. And then he tried to fire his manager on the stage. And then the manager was like, okay, cool. You can fire me, but you owe me this amount of money. And then he couldn't pay that money or else he'd be broke.
Right.
So he spent the rest of his life playing the Vegas shows until he died.
Oh my God.
How crazy is that, bro? Yeah. And then through the whole thing, they're like, why don't you just quit, Elvis? Like, you don't have to do this. And he's like, there's nothing else for me out there. Like, he literally became a used up, like, sideshow act, you know, that they just like stole all. He's like the golden goose and they just kept taking from him. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And they really showed that in like the movie about how
there was like a lot of bad name around him, or at least is what I heard, if I remember correctly.
For like stealing stuff, right?
Like stealing black music.
I think that was just a media thing, like the perspective that they were building up. Because if you watch the movie, it's like, no, he kept paying homage to it.
No, I know. Yeah, I think the movie was more telling his true story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was so sad. If you watch other movies like the Elton John movie, the Queen movie, you see some of that. You see like how artists, you know, suffer over time. Yeah. But it all really started with Elvis. You know, like the residency thing tripped me out. I was like, oh, this is where it all began. Like, because like Celine Dion, Britney Spears, they all had a residency in Las Vegas, right? Yeah. It's because of Elvis. Trippy, right? Yeah. They gave him like the best suite. You know, they made his life super lavish. But like, that's when he fell into drugs because like between shows, he had nothing to do with his life. He couldn't see his family. His wife left him. You're literally in the top suite, caged. Yeah. And then come down, do your show, go back up.
I mean, that means he was like depressed.
Yeah, he was depressed.
Yeah, that's the.
And then there was this one point. This is how the movie starts, and then they circle back on it. But he passes out from all the drugs, and the manager's like, if he doesn't go on stage, we don't get paid. So you better make sure he goes on stage. And then, but he's like passed out, right? And then they're like, we should bring him to a hospital. But his dad is like the manager, and his dad was like, okay, let's wake him up. So the doctor gives him like an adrenaline shot.
Oh my God.
Wake him back up, sing your songs, and then go back to your hotel room, bro. Like you're literally the golden goose. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then like that's why he got like super like obese, and then he just got a heart attack and died. He was like just being used.
Right.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah, just want to quickly bring that up. On the whole, though, I wouldn't say it's a good movie, though. Like, I didn't like it. The story was good, but it was too artsy for me. You might like it.
I was going to say, I do want to watch it, but...
Like, Tara liked it because it was very artsy. Yeah, Sunshine liked it, too. I just didn't like it because I wasn't expecting an art film. Like, remember Across the Universe?
Oh, yes.
It was like that. It was, like, too artsy for me.
Okay,
it's like, why are you guys being so artsy?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's one scene where he gets like upset, so he gets out of he like drives to the urban neighborhood, gets out, and they start playing rap music, and I was thrown off because I'm like, why are you playing rap music in like his era? That
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, but it was trying to show you that he was urban.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see it though.
Yeah, I think you would like it for its artsiness, but for me, it's too weird. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Okay, next thing. Elon Musk, Twitter deal broken. You said there's some stuff you read about that, like why they might be backing out of the deal. I just saw that he's backing out of the deal. I don't really know the numbers or anything.
That they Twitter hasn't disclosed everything
prior to the purchase. So it's like how many actual users
for
are
the
there.
purchase to happen, and Twitter hasn't been revealing all the information that needs to be revealed.
You know what's actually interesting about that? Because like if most users are bots, then they have inflated numbers, which is great for like your shareholders, because you're like, oh look, there's like 1 billion users on Twitter.
Right.
But then if you find out that half of those users are bots, then it actually is not very lucrative if you purchase the company. So maybe like from him, he's like, why am I paying so much for a bunch of fake accounts?
Yeah, and it's also about like how do we monetize this? So we need to know like the real accounts and what are the bots that we have to like ban and stuff like that, right? So
right. So that you're not advertising to a bunch of bots and you're wasting money.
Right.
But after thinking about it, it's like bots are the lifeblood of social media accounts.
Right.
Right. If you think about it, right? Because people who, pay into that marketing structure and they're utilizing bots, it's like, where does that money go? Like you're creating an economy surrounding the platform. If you take away bots, then you've lost an economy. You're putting a lot more people out of business than.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the situation with that. That's all I can say. So, but they want to take him to court because to force him to buy, I guess.
But I mean, I see their point, because you would have made the offer. We're going through with the offer. You made it super public. We're all expecting you to purchase it. And then if you like take back the deal, what about all the other stuff that we had lined up because of this?
Yeah. So I guess again, it's a lawyer thing now, right? So his lawyers, they haven't revealed the full information that we require.
Right.
And then I guess that's why it'll go through the courts. And then Twitter's like, well, he said he's going to buy. I don't know. Like,
I guess feel like it's a dick move to be like, no, I'm not going to buy it now. But like,
No, I don't know if it's necessarily a dick move. I think if this was the deal that in order for me to buy, I need to know all the information. You're not revealing the information, so how can I buy?
Okay, so okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I don't know who's.
It's like you promised. So if it is a case of them not providing what he. Like
which is what I'm reading from somebody else, like a third-party thing, where it's like it's weird that Twitter isn't revealing all the information.
But if that revealing of information isn't set out in the contract of me purchasing it, then I don't need to reveal it to you.
I think it is in that.
So then that's wrong on their part. Of course, they're going to lose the deal.
That's the
But we don't know until we see the contract. We'll see.
That's why we got to go through the. If it goes through the courts, we'll see what happens. He's
just been in a lot of controversy recently. Like, and then the other thing about his kid, we had like secret kid with an executive from, you said Neuralink?
Yeah.
It's weird. Like we talked about Steve Jobs versus Elon Musk, right? And we were saying like how Steve Jobs never made his like private life public.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't like a celebrity. He was just, let me advance technology.
Exactly.
Whereas Elon Musk is quickly becoming a celebrity. If not, he's already.
I think he's already. It's just he's been slowing down on Twitter though.
But even still, it's like with everything that's going on surrounding him, like presenting yourself as a persona opens the door for you to be attacked. And now we're seeing, that old adage of you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think he's been a bit more
quiet about everything.
But yeah, he's been a bit more quiet, I would say. Quietish. Like,
ooh, this would be so trippy. Imagine if he doesn't make his mark of getting us to Mars, and then it becomes like the man, the myth, the legend. You know what I'm saying? Like he was overhyped, and then he just deflated.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're still gonna go.
I know. Like I'm just saying, if they don't go, right? Yeah. Like you did so much on Dogecoin, right? They're suing him now. The cryptocurrency market. Twitter's suing him. The freaking scandal with the girl from Neuralink.
Oh.
The secret kid. Right? Like,
who's suing him for that?
No, not suing, the scandal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he had a kid, It's like, oh man, so much is going on.
Well, yeah, when he's in a public eye like that, any little thing is going to become a huge thing, right? So.
Yeah, but you like put yourself out there in that
point, it's going to happen.
You know?
Yeah.
That's why Steve Jobs never did that, right?
He kept
was
his
super secret.
He kept his private life very secret.
Yeah, which is very commendable.
Yeah, even Tim Cook. We don't know anything about Tim Cook.
Exactly, commendable.
But that's the kind of system that Steve Jobs built. That's the structure he built for Apple.
Probably because
we don't know anything about any of those people at Apple.
Probably because he knew, though. He's like, this would hurt them.
It makes sense. Yes.
If you work for a company, you essentially become an ambassador for the brand. So if you're hurting the brand through your image, that's not a good thing either.
Yeah. Like these things can come out when you die. Like that's kind of the stuff that was happening with Steve Jobs, right? Like how tough of a manager he was and stuff like that. But that only came out.
This is actually a really good question, though. Like, if you work for a brand, you essentially become an ambassador for the brand, correct?
Yeah.
So if somebody fires you because they don't like what you're doing, but they also have a policy of like, be yourself when you come to work, that's so conflicting as well. Because like, but I'm just being myself. But you're an ambassador for the brand, so it's like you can be yourself up to a point.
Up to a point, yeah.
Right? So it's like that statement in itself is limited. Right? Hypocrisy of it all. That's why you gotta be respectful, courteous, and kind. Right? Like, that's it. No, like, don't be yourself. Don't be yourself. Yeah. Okay, last thing. Thor. Even though this is the name of the podcast. Love and Thunder. Okay, so what do you think of it?
It's not a normal MCU movie. Okay. That's not what I felt it was like. It was
definitely different than a lot of the other ones.
Right.
Because we were hating the other ones.
Yeah. I would say I love a lot of Taika Waititi stuff. And this was his movie. Like, everything in it was how he normally tells a story. Okay. Yeah. Especially focusing around like kids and dealing with but it's still an MCU because you can't go. It's not like Jojo Rabbit dealing with like very adult themes, but they're kids. Okay, yeah. Because the audience is still kids for MCU. Right. But he was still using a lot of that. I can see everything about it was like his type of movie.
Like it's his style.
His style.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't really like Taika Waititi movies. I remember you tried to show me that one. I was like, I can't do this. Too artsy for me. But I did like this one. But maybe it's because like it was more Thor. That's why it's very comedic.
I would say like 90% Taika, maybe like the 10% because they have to do with MCU stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like to fit the storyline.
Fit the story. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a good movie. It was almost a bit too corny, but I liked it.
Yeah, I think. But that's the thing. This is Taika. Like he always
makes it super corny.
Yeah, he makes these little like kind of like weird jokes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's. I just like his movies. I really relate to. I don't know. I just like it a lot. I find them funny. I find them, like there's lessons in his movies. That's what he likes to really try to do. Right. Like he'll throw in the laughs. He'll throw in all these things, but.
There's a deeper message.
There's a very deep message in what he's trying to tell.
So what did you think the deep message was for Thor? The love, like selecting love over personal ambition.
I think that, and I think it was the main theme was love.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, for the little girl.
For the little girl, for Christian Bale's character.
Spoiler alert.
And then what happened to his love interest? So.
Yeah, true.
And like losing of a love interest.
Yeah. What did you think of Christian Bale?
His level of acting is so like top par. Where I was just like, I wanted to see more of him.
But
it's also like he's super serious.
It's off-putting. Like it's like if you have.
It's different. It's like you've got the like Thor. Like there's nothing that was necessarily serious about it. Yeah. Like everything was so jokey.
Yeah.
But then Christian Bale as the villain was like so good. Super villainous. Like
no, but not just villainous, but like his acting was
really good. No, his acting was really good. Like there's nothing jokey about it. Like it was like straight perfect, serious.
Yeah. Like it was like he was playing a real role.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he took it seriously. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna be the suffering is gonna be here. I'm gonna cry on command. Like I'm gonna make you feel for this villain.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the movie wasn't like that at all.
Right.
Maybe Natalie Portman's like her health thing. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a little bit on the serious, but I do like that scene, like where it was showing when
she dropped the hammer.
When she dropped the hammer and seeing her like all weak and stuff, and then like that was like a really cool scene.
But it wasn't like. It wasn't to the level of Christian Bale's seriousness for his role. Like it was good. It was like better than Thor's depiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just straight comic.
Yes, he was not like this tough guy type of person.
Yeah. Like he didn't take his role too seriously.
No.
And then Natalie Portman's was kind of like that too. Like she was like a mix between Christian Bale and Thor. Chris Hemsworth, but then Christian Bale just like knocked it out of the park, and you're like, it's almost like if you had like dirt everywhere, and then you had one diamond, like diamond in a rough.
Yeah.
You just can't stop looking at the diamond. You're like, this seems out of place. You know what I mean? That's how I felt during the movie. I was like, why is his acting too good?
Yeah, his.
It's almost detrimental to the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I just liked it a lot. Like.
No, I liked it too.
I know.
It was like
it was very different,
off-putting. Yeah,
it was very different.
The contrast was so strong.
The contrast
was off-putting.
Yeah.
But like if it was just the Christian Bale, it's like wow, that would be an epic. Like if you just judged it from Christian Bale, you're like wow, what an epic acting piece.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you judge it as a whole, it's like why did you put him in here? It's too good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently he didn't even know about MCU until he got the thing. He knew about Marvel movies, but somebody's like, oh, you made it into the MCU. So what's an MCU? Like he's not into the superhero stuff.
Well, now he's done both. So.
Yeah, DC and MCU. Yeah, true. Yeah. What did you think? You said that...
I did like... well, they didn't really show like blood, right? But they were trying to do that kind of thing.
It was like gold.
It was gold.
Yeah. Another one... Okay, so maybe it's just that all the villains for Taika Waititi's movies are just really good actors. Because Ragnarok, the villain was good as well. I was like, oh, she's acting really well. And then Russell Crowe seems like he'll be the next villain in the next movie, like with Hercules, right? Spoiler alert. But his acting was also extremely good. I had to ask myself, like, is this Russell Crowe? Because like usually Russell Crowe, when he does movies, he tries an accent, but you could still hear it's Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I did not expect an accent
vocally,
from. Yeah, I did not expect an accent, especially that kind of accent.
Right? Yeah. Visually, you're looking at him, you're like, oh, that's Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
But then when you listen to him talk, you're like, is that Russell Crowe? Because his accent was so good, and his depiction was so good too. Like very flamboyant. Like, wow, you really knocked it out of the park too.
Right.
So maybe that's like a Taika Waititi thing. Like all the villains for Thor will be like these.
Maybe maybe
actors.
it's like a new spin because these are like on the higher budget movies that he can do, right? So,
yeah, true. Yeah. But I guess it's better that way because then you get the juxtaposition every time of like a comedic actor in Chris Hemsworth, and then a very serious method actor in like other people like Russell Crowe, Christian Bale.
Yeah. I like his project a lot. So
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I'm super biased on this guy.
It's very funny. It was very funny, very corny, but very funny.
Yeah,
I laughed so many times.
Yeah. I like Korg though. Korg, that's him anyway. So
yeah, true. Well, what did you think of the daughter? You said that she was Chris Hemsworth's
I believe
daughter?
so. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, yeah. Which is Christian Bale's daughter in the movie was actually Chris Hemsworth's daughter in real life. Yeah. It makes sense that you would put them because at the end they become Love and Thunder, like hence the name. But with that, it's like you need really good chemistry, especially when you're working with a youth, because like they're very difficult to like win over, I guess. They're not really acting. They don't know how to act, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Like Will Smith did the same thing for his movie Pursuit of Happiness. Right. And then I was listening to a podcast with Justin Long. He said like for a baby scene, he had to get his sister's kid because all other kids were crying.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I get that point. But I don't know. I felt it was like, I don't know how I feel about putting them together. Like, is she going to be the next, like, obviously not that actor, but are they going to put like a sidekick to Thor in the next movie? Like, are they going to keep her around?
I just don't think so.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like kind of weird that you made it all about them. Like, they were the titular line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is the movie called Love and Thunder? It's because Thor and Christian Bale's daughter became Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, I feel like you would keep them around. Maybe.
I think for here and there thing, but I don't think that it's like a big. Like, I don't think it's going to be together.
You don't think the next movie is going to be Love and Thunder, saving the day?
No. We'll see. He's going to be facing Hercules. So.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I really did like the ending for Natalie Portman too.
Mm-hmm.
Like how she did die, but then she died in battle, so she got to go to Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah.
It was a good like send off to her character because I don't think she's coming back.
I don't think she's coming back. Yeah.
Okay, did you know there were 4 Thor movies? You're thinking about it right now, but I saw a post this morning and it showed all 4 posters, and I was like, I didn't know there was this like that movie. I think of Ragnarok, this one, and then the first one.
Right.
There was one in between Ragnarok and.
Yeah, I don't remember that story.
I don't remember it either. When I saw it, I was like, there were 4?
Yeah. I don't remember. Like, I don't remember the beginning stories, like what they were like.
The first one I remember is Ragnarok. Like,
yeah, that's the only thing that I remember.
Yeah,
the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's trippy. And I guess final thing, because I was saying it at the time that I thought he was wearing a muscle suit.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a video. I think I sent it to you guys, but like I watched him working out. Like Chris Hemsworth posted it, and it's not a muscle suit. He's just that jacked. But I think just for like a moment though.
No, they don't stay like that. Yeah, like they have. You do it for that scene, and then.
Yeah.
It's like going back because you can't keep that up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, which is really interesting. It's like you are insanely jacked that it looks unreal. Like you're more jacked technically than The Rock. Like The Rock is jacked, but he's like thick boy jacked.
Yeah.
You know, Chris Hemsworth looks like godly jacked. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't look like. He just looks really big. Like his muscles look really big.
Right.
Whereas like The Rock looks like he could fight you or something. Like he looks like a tank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's trippy to think that that's actual real muscle. You're like, wow, all right, going off.
I like the theme in general of the movie, which was just that, like gods.
Oh yeah.
Don't want to care about us.
And stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, you did mention that. Yeah, in the opening scene, they talked about how the gods, even though you pray to them, they actually don't care about you at all.
Yeah,
it's very true when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic to start at right away.
Yeah, true. And they really broke it down too. It wasn't just like they said it, but they kept explaining why that was the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like every multiple points during that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was the real lesson of the movie. It wasn't the love thing. It wasn't about choosing.
There's
love.
multiple things, but yeah. It's that's one of them too. And I like the cameos. Cameos are fun.
Yeah, they're always good. Yeah.
The Matt Damon.
Yeah. You didn't see Zach Galifianakis as one of the gods.
I didn't see him, yeah.
They showed him twice. He showed him once, and I was like, is that Zach Galifianakis? And then they did a close-up of him being shocked, and I was like, oh, it's him.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. Yeah. Because I was thinking of who's that Thor actor. I was trying to think of that person.
No, it was in the gods. Oh, wait.
Oh, you're talking about he wasn't
Zach. He wasn't in
the play area.
Midgard.
Oh, okay. He was in the Golden Temple.
Yeah.
I didn't see him there. Okay. I was trying to look at. There's so many different faces.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I was trying to see all the different types of gods there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I did like that part where they're showing all the different gods around the world.
But everyone was cheering Zeus for some reason. Zeus
that was really cool too, though. I love how they made it like such a fanboy.
Yeah.
like Thor really loves Zeus.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like
Oh,
I
and
named
then
myself after him. Like,
oh yeah. And it's kind of funny though that this all these things because you can
yeah,
see the similarities in Norse mythology, Greek mythology with these certain
true. Yeah,
characters,
very
right?
true.
That's kind of what they're saying. And then it's like, don't meet your heroes. Like that's
Yeah, that was really funny too. Do you remember when they're cheering for Zeus? And
yeah,
okay, so usually when that happens, like I wonder why people start cheering. Okay, like psychologically, personally for myself, like when you see a celebrity, you're like, oh my god, you're amazing, right?
yeah.
But when I saw that scene, when I saw Chris Hemsworth, like his excitement over seeing Zeus, I was like, oh, I would cheer too. Like it didn't feel disingenuous.
Right,
like
right,
it
right.
wasn't like they were actually really excited. I guess it's just good acting on their parts, but like it felt like they really were excited to see Zeus versus like
Yeah.
versus like the celebrity of it. It was more like you were amazed to see that this god actually exists, like the way they were portraying it,
Right.
like their acting of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that scene stuck out to me when they all started chanting Zeus because I was like, oh, they really are excited to see him. Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool scene. What else? Oh, what do you think about the like the sexuality for every single person? I thought that was kind of weird. Like they went through like Korg, guy and guy, Valkyrie, she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
And then heterosexual for Thor and
Right.
Natalie Portman. I was just like, wow, you're really like touching on every single.
It's in his other movies too, though.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a Disney thing. I was like,
even
oh, you
even
guys
in
are
Jojo
really...
Rabbit, there's
like
implications of those sort of things.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I thought that
very
was like
inclusive as a person.
Okay, I thought that was like an injection of Disney into it. Remember, like Buzz
There's probably
Lightyear?
that too. Like, it's probably why they pick him anyways, right? But he had it in Jojo Rabbit, and I'm not sure I don't remember if the other movies or not, but he did have it in Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
Okay, and then even Zeus was talking about like orgies. I was like, oh wow,
But yeah. See, these are like
that was interesting too. It's like, why? Okay, this is not a Disney. Was this cleared by Disney? Like, what's going on? You know, because they said the Deadpool movie is going to be rated R.
I think they're trying to hit certain lines because they know like a lot of the audience who are watching these are now they were kids watching it
Exactly,
and now they've
yeah.
grown older, so they're trying to get to a certain
Like a middle
level,
ground,
level
totally.
to be not so they don't cross over, but they stay on the line.
Because like you and I were really hating all those Disney movies that were coming out, like the Shang-Chi. Not a fan. It was like too kiddie.
Yeah. Well, I think it may have been like this is probably the idea or the push from Taika as well, right? Like I don't know, like how much power did because it said Taika.
It was a Taika Waititi film.
Yeah, see, it's like it was a lot of it was probably him
being like we need to mature up these scenes. Yeah, true. Because I felt like I was a little hesitant going in because I really hated all the Disney stuff that's been coming out.
Yeah. Same. I just didn't know how this was going to be because I did read before going in that it's more Taika movie than
a Disney,
like a more of a regular Disney movie.
Okay,
so I was like, okay, but how is this? How are people going to take it? Or people because his movies are, I would say, like it's not for everybody.
Right.
So it's like how are the general public going to take it?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of the good old days of Marvel. It reminded me of Ragnarok. Ragnarok was an amazing movie.
He did that too, right?
Yeah. But that was an amazing Thor movie.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know if I'd put it up there. Like, I
don't
like
think
Ragnarok
it's like
was a little better still.
Yeah, I think Ragnarok was still better. But this was very much his movie. I feel like it was everything was Taika's, especially with having those kids around. Like that's like his. It's always he always.
I was wondering. I was like, this is a little too heavy on the kid thing, man.
Yeah,
like,
his that's what I'm saying. Like his movies all do that, right?
Yeah.
Like the Hunt for the Wilder People was about the orphan kid.
Interesting.
Then Jojo Rabbit was about the two kids in the Nazi camp.
Right.
So it's like his always was focusing around like kids as the main thing, but Thor is the main character for this, right? So
yeah. But they were highlighting the kid stuff really heavy, like
yeah, you could tell that
empowering the kids. I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. But yeah, okay, that makes sense now. Yeah, on the whole, definitely worth the watch.
One of the better Marvel movies I've seen this year so far.
But I mean, it's technically a Taika Waititi film, so
True,
that is why.
but it's under their category now, right? So,
yeah, facts.
So far, that's the only one that I've liked.
I'm excited for Black Adam though. Like Disney,
Well, Black Adam is
DC,
different.
Yeah,
It's
DC
not
is,
it's DC. That's a different level. That's
Yeah.
like I
No,
can't.
but like in terms of superhero movies,
Yes,
like
okay,
the
I got
Batman was great. You know, I'm more in the DC camp now, so I'm excited for Black Adam.
I think DC has a lot. They can improve a lot now.
Yeah, true.
But they just have to.
They're very mature.
Yeah.
DC. Like even Black Adam, he's like a slave. He was talking about like, oh wow, it's a different theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about
from
it.
the commercial. They were
Okay.
saying like I was a slave until I was reborn or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's new.
Mhm.
Like it's more mature, not
Mhm,
new,
mhm.
but yeah.
I think that's what Warner Brothers will stick to, being a bit more mature. They.
Yeah, hopefully, if everything goes the way of like kiddiness.
I
I'm
mean,
like, oh, man.
I think they've learned their lesson from Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Oh right, I totally forgot about that one. And how amazing Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Exactly.
Did. That was wonderful. Like that was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Super long though. It's like
Well,
multiple-
it's like 4 parts. Yeah. But he finally was able to tell his story, right?
but it was brilliantly done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so definitely check out Love and Thunder. It's worth it.
When's Black Adam though? Is that soon?
Yeah, I think August. It's
Oh, okay. It's close.
Oh yeah, true. That's only like a few weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think in terms? All right, last thing, just kind of random because it said a few weeks away. Remember when we were kids, everything was based off of days. Remember, it was like, oh, 3 more days, or like, oh,
Yeah, okay.
like you think in terms of days,
Yeah.
right? And then you hit a point, I guess, like maybe university, start thinking in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking in months. Like a month feels like a day to me now. Like a month feels like it'll go by in a second.
Right.
You know, even like that's why you're like, oh, it's in August. Oh, that's not that far. But it's
Yeah.
like if we were kids, we'd be like, oh my god, that's 3 more. That's like 15 days. So long.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're like, oh, 3 weeks. Like, it's still pretty long. But then if you think of it like, oh, that's just next month. It's like,
Like, I mean, yeah, like, look at it like
but
COVID.
like, do you feel that though? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you've noticed that too, right? You
Yeah,
think more in
yeah,
months
yeah.
than in like days or weeks.
Yeah, I think it's more like as you grow older,
Like I think of it like, what am I going to get done this month?
yeah,
Versus like, what am I going to get done this day? Or what am I going to get done this week?
true.
It's more like, what is happening this month?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think it's
Does
just,
it make sense?
I think it makes sense. I think it's more like having more of a busy schedule.
Yeah, you're trying to fit everything in. So you're like, all right, what do I have to complete this month? And there's so many things.
Yeah. And how busy we make our lives now, right? So
True, yeah.
I think it's all that.
Yeah. I don't know, just something interesting I realized when I got older. But then I also heard that it's relative to your age. So like when you're a kid,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
one day. No, I mean like when you're a kid, one day relative to 4 years seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But then if you're like 20, one day compared to 20 years seems like very little.
Right.
And then when you get older and older, like
Right.
that one day starts to like become a sliver in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we think relative to
Yeah,
our
yeah.
age. Yeah.
Right.
That could be it too. I don't know. But
Yeah,
I just noticed,
I think something to do with our mind and getting used to the timelines of long.
like a day seems so quick. It's like we're already, what time is it?
Almost one.
1, but it feels like the day's over.
Yeah, I know.
To me, I'm like, all right, how many things I gotta get? I gotta get a few more things done. Like that's gonna fly by.
Yeah, true.
Just a random thought at the end. All right. Any final thoughts aside from my speedy time thing?
No, go check out the movie. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I agree. This is one that's worth
Pretty
checking out.
decent. I'd say it's decent.
Pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's decent.
It's not like Ragnarok, which is like, oh my god, this one was sick. This is good.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Actually, I forgot about this. Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you remember how quickly they like deleted? That was weird. It's like, oh, we're gone. Like, all right.
They were not even in the movie. Yeah, it was just like right in the like
very beginning cameo.
first 10 minutes and
Yeah.
then gone. Yeah.
One battle and then okay, we're splitting up.
You're right.
It's like, oh, all right. Because
Yeah,
remember,
that's
like
true.
they made it seem like they were going to go on an
All
epic
together.
adventure.
Yeah.
And then they
That's
didn't
true.
do that.
Yeah, that's true. But they were gone in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, interesting. And I heard that the next one for Guardians is going to be the last one. Potentially, at least it's the last one for Drax, because I think he said like goodbye to this character.
I feel like it's going to be. I think for a lot of them, it's gone on quite a long time. They've done so many movies
it has been.
within that MCU
Like not
world.
individual movies, but they played those characters so many times.
In other movies or the Avenger movies and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, until next time. It is interesting that wrestlers are becoming big. Like Batista's a wrestler, Rock's a wrestler, John Cena's a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
They're like really starting to break through, all because of The Rock. You know, he kicked the door down.
He's been doing it for a long time though, The Rock.
Yeah.
For like Scorpion King. And,
Yeah. It was like one of his first ones.
Yeah.
Walking Tall.
Oh,
Remember
Walking
that?
Tall.
That was
Yeah.
a really old movie. It's a good movie though, but really old. Yeah, he has been doing it for a while. Yeah. All right. So next, he's still jacked too.
True.
He's even more jacked actually now.
Yes.
Than before. That's the roids, bro. Gotta get on those roids. All right. Till next time. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye.
I think it's the Samoan blood in him.
Yeah, it's the Samoa.
They're big people.
Roids.
They're big people. Yeah.
All right. Till next time. Take it easy.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.